All right. So, for my informative speech, the thing that I wanted to talk to you about was having a POST document in place. POST is an acronym and it stands for Physician's Order for Scope of Treatment. This is one of uh, many of the advanced directives, but this one I think is kind of important. The reason I think this one is the most important is because this is a document that is going to tell a physician what your wishes are if you are so, uh, if you have been so seriously injured and that you cannot express what your wishes are at that point, such as whether or not you wish to be left on life support or be uh, have any kind of resuscitation at all. Um, I know that this is talking about death and these type of end of life directives is kind of depressing and it's an uncomfortable subject. But I bet you'd agree that expressing your wishes about your death while you have the ability to do so is a lot more compassionate than rather than leaving it up to your loved ones. If you're in that situation, um, it would just be a lot more compassionate for them for you to have this written down and in place, um, because at that time they're just going to be grieving so much they really don't need to have these kind of decisions um, that they need to be making at that time. Um, so again, the post is a specific document that only comes into play if you're so seriously injured that you cannot uh, express what your wishes are to be taken care of at the very end of your life. Um, the post is one of many of the advanced directives, and you probably know some of them already. If you have, say, an organ donation marking on your driver's license, um, that is an advanced directive. A durable power of attorney, both for your estate or property and for your health, is an advanced directive. Um, so there are several, and you should consider having all of them in place, but this one in particular. We never really consider that death can come to us at every given moment, even though we all know that this is possible. Anybody that leads an independent existence knows this. But we don't like to talk about it or think about it in a deliberate, sober, or critical way. But I'd like for you to consider doing so, and this is why. Um, if you go to the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, they have a study that pretty much shows you how people die in the U.S. Um, and you may think that these advanced directives are only for elderly people or for people who are nearing their end of life or in hospice care. And again, the CDC report really proves out that that really isn't the case. Um, for example, the CDC reports that in 2013, um, the leading cause of death for people aged 1 to 44 was unintentional injuries. Uh, that accounted for more than um, 31.7 of all deaths in that age group. Uh, so that's almost more than people that pass away um, from their age, even in the demographic right now where baby boomers are in that age group where they're most likely to be at the end of their life. So death and recoverable injuries are not isolated to just a few or a certain age group. It's pretty much spans the age of most people. So another kind of statistic that we should look at. How about if we look at deaths from fatal car crashes in 2014 in Idaho alone? All right, so the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety has a Highway Loss Data Institute. And this institute is really what the statistics that insurance companies look at to know what to charge you for your insurance rates. And they have a list of statistics for Idaho. It's for all 50 states, but for Idaho in particular, there are just over 1.6 million people in Idaho. And these are for 2014, these statistics. Of that many people, there was 175 fatal accidents in Idaho that resulted in 186 deaths. Now, that may not sound like many for over 1.6 million people, but let's put it a little more in perspective. So that ratio comes out to be 11.4 deaths per 100,000 people, which means that a town the size of Caldwell, because Caldwell is just under 100,000 people, will see an average of 11 deaths every year. And we all know how folks in Canyon County drive, so really should be taking a look at that one. There are a few other situations where having a post in place would be appropriate. Say as if there's an illness or a condition that you may have that is chronic, progressive, or is in a terminal state. And those are really the most important reasons to have one, regardless of what age you are. So let me show you what an actual post form looks like. And you can get these at the Department of Health and Welfare's website, or you can get these at your physician's office. They have them, and you can just discuss it with your physician when you're in having a regular checkup. They will give one to you. They will tell you how to fill it out, what certain sections mean, and they will turn it in for the Idaho Healthcare Directive Registry for you, or you can do that yourself. Having your post registered with the Idaho Healthcare Directive Registry is the surest way that in an emergency, your physician will know how to treat you if you can't indicate for yourself what it is that you want. The registry is the first place that an emergency physician is going to look for these directives. The physician will follow the directives in good faith before they follow the requests from any family member or perform any aggressive intervention unless you specify so on this document. Lastly, I'd like to be clear though. It's safe to assume that all medical personnel will make all efforts to save your life in a medically feasible and possible manner if you can't do so for yourself. But I really would like for you to consider having a post in place and registered so that if you do happen to be in a position where you can't tell somebody how you should be treated the way you wish to be treated, that you don't make your loved ones who are grieving horribly at that moment anyway, please don't make them make those decisions for you. Thank you.